Hi everybody, it's Linnea. Happy World Cardmaking Day. One of my favorite days of the year. I love that a bunch of us just come together and make cards. Even though we're not together in person, I feel like I'm close to my fellow crafters today. So I'm going to be taking one technique and making 3 cards and kind of 3 different events for those cards. So I'm going to be doing glitz on top of flock. This is one of my favorite things to do to mix and match products. And I really love to do this technique because a lot of the Deco foil flock transfer sheet colors match almost perfectly with the Gina K Designs Glitz glitter gel colors. It's like they were made to go together. So I have 3 colors of Deco foil flock. I have ruby red, blue diamond, and purple punch. I'm going to cut these down to an A2 size, and when you do that, I find it's best to use a guillotine trimmer. You can use one of the regular slide blades, that works as well, but you always want to be sure that you are cutting with the pretty side, the fuzzy side of the flock down. You want to be cutting into the backer. That way you're not going to get any shredding of your flock transfer sheets. I've chosen 3 different stencils to use because I thought it would be fun to not only mix up the colors but the pattern. So I'm going to be spraying each of those stencils with pixie spray. To use pixie spray, I just give it a little bit of a shake, and then it's really just, I go once over and then maybe a little bit back over, but you don't need a lot of the pixie spray. Your stencil should only be slightly tacky. It shouldn't be sticky. So once I have that pixie spray on the back, I'm going to adhere the stencil on top of the flock, and then I'm going over each portion of the stencil really carefully with my fingers to make sure that that adheres well onto the flock. The stencils I'm using today are fairly fine detailed, and I don't want to have any of the Glitz glitter gel going underneath of the stencil. So the stencil that I'm using for this card is the Floral Wave Offset stencil, and all 3 of my stencils are from Miss Ink stamps. That's just how it happened to be. Any stencil, any pattern that you like will absolutely work with this technique. And I'm also using the Brilliant Blue Glitz glitter gel. I used my stencil pal to evenly cover my flock with the Glitz glitter gel, and that is my first background. I'm going to show you this process once more. It's very easy, just like stenciling glitz onto cardstock. So this one is the striped stencil, also from Miss Ink stamps, and I have the Wild Lilac Glitz glitter gel. I made a mistake here. I like to mix it up with my palette knife, but I got, I guess, a little too rambunctious with my palette knife. And you saw me kind of miss the edge of the container and get my glitz all over my work surface. But no problem, my stencil pal came in super handy. I just scraped that up and put it right over top of my Glitz glitter gel stencil background here. So this is the Wild Lilac on top of the Purple Punch flock. And then my last one, I'm using ruby red flock transfer sheets with the red velvet Glitz glitter gel. And I'm going to show you that here just very quickly. It's really easy to apply the Glitz glitter gel over the stencils, and what I do is I just use my stencil pal to get even coverage, and then once I have all the nooks and crannies covered with that Glitz glitter gel, I kind of hold my stencil palette at an angle and give it a good once over to just remove all the excess glitz that's on top of my stencil. I'm going to set those backgrounds aside to dry for probably about an hour, and I colored up some images. I used a couple different stamp sets. I used the LDRS Friends stamp set, Simon Says Stamp Hexagon Greetings, and my favorite things, all the cupcakes. A couple of these stamp sets I own the coordinating dies for, so I'm going to use some pieces of purple tape to make sure that as I'm die cutting these images, the die doesn't slide around. Now this is the new formula of purple tape, and I absolutely love it because it has never once torn my cardstock. But you do want to apply it with a bit of pressure. So you're going to see me just add that tape over my dies on top of my image, and then just kind of press that in place with my fingers, and you're going to see my dies had no slipping or sliding thanks to that purple tape. So by the time I was done coloring and die cutting my images, my backgrounds were pretty much dry. So I'm going to show you here just how much texture and dimension you get by putting that Glitz glitter gel on top of the Deco foil flock transfer sheets. The flock in the background has that fuzzy texture with just a little bit of lift, and then the glitz on top also has some lift. Now I'm pointing out here with my purple background, I didn't get my stencil lined up quite straight, so my lines look a little bit diagonal. That's okay, I'm running with it. This is a handmade project, and it's not going to be perfect, and in the end, I think it looks just fine. I'm going to use my favorite liquid adhesive to adhere these backgrounds to a card base. I trimmed them down to 4 by 5¼ inches, and I'm using iCraft ultrabond liquid adhesive. That is going to give me just a little bit of wiggle room if I need to, but look at how flat that flock is going to adhere down onto my card base. There's no bubbles or anything, and even though there was a little bit of warping from the moisture with the Glitz glitter gel, once I use that ultrabond adhesive, there's no warping at all. My panel will lay completely flat on my card base. Since these cards are very simple, and especially this one with just this hexagon and the brilliant blue Glitz glitter gel, I'm using iCraft 3D foam adhesive squares. These adhesive squares, I think, are about twice as dimensional as regular adhesive squares. Just look at how much that hexagon pops up off of my card. Now I do want to mention the iCraft 3D foam squares are super sticky, but just for my own peace of mind, because I want to make sure that these little images don't go anywhere when I mail them, I do add a little bit of the iCraft ultrabond liquid adhesive as well as the 3D foam squares just to make sure that they hold on tight and strong. So I hope you've enjoyed this video celebrating World Cardmaking Day and that you are inspired to use your Glitz glitter gel on top of your flock transfer sheets to create a variety of card backgrounds. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye!